All right, Total Trucker, M.A.S. movies and shows, and let's talk about two movies here, Pet Cemetery and Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. So let's go ahead and start with Pet Cemetery. Over the weekend, had a little bit of time to kill, and my beautiful crazy local wife and I went ahead and watched a few movies. Now, this one right here came out in 2019. I do remember the old school one that came out in 1989. As a matter of fact, I was a little young mocoso and I got scared, man. The sister in that movie scared the heck out of me for one reason or another, man. But when this one was coming out in 2019, for one reason or another, it just kind of went over my head. I wasn't really that interested in it. I was just kind of like, if I watch it, I watch it. If I don't, I don't, whatever. But when I was looking for a movie, I actually came across Pet Cemetery Bloodlines because this one actually came out earlier this year, earlier in 2023. And I'm like, hey, wait a second. Before I watch this one, I want to go ahead and watch this one that came out in 2019 because I was just assuming that they are connected, kind of like a part one, part two, which, by the way, I never saw Pet Cemetery part two, which came out, I believe, in 91 or 92, with the kid from Terminator Part 2. He's in that one. I never saw that one. I think I saw like a little piece or here or there, whatever. And I don't know. I heard a lot of bad things about it. I never watched it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about this one, this version, Pet Cemetery, okay, in 2019. So it is a remake of the 1989 Pet Cemetery. Now, here's the thing. It did have me interested because the story was pretty much the same. You know, the guy's a doctor. There's a kid that gets in an accident. You know, half his brain is showing. All that same old stuff, right? And at some point, I got to thinking, like, you know what? I'm really starting to lose interest because it's pretty much identical to the 1989 version, right up to the point where a tragedy strikes in the family. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. Hold on. That's not the same as the old school 1989 version. And then from there, you start to see the differences that they made in this remake. And I'm telling you guys, it made it so damn interesting for me, at least. Now, that's not to say that the first part of this movie, which I'm going to roughly guess here, probably about 35 minutes of the beginning of this movie, is pretty much the same story as a 1989 version. But even though it's the same, it does have a little bit of different tweaks here and there to make it its own. However, the story is pretty much the same. But once you get to a certain part of the movie, it's like, oh, dang. Okay. So it's not following step by step from the 1989 version of the movie. And I got to tell you guys this, man. I really enjoyed this movie. Now, I do not want to exaggerate and say that this movie is great. It's going to knock your socks off. But I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I like the differences that they made. I was like, whoa, wait a second. So this person died, but not that person. Oh, now you're having interactions with this person, and that wasn't in the 1989 version. Oh, look at this, how this is turning around. Damn, this is a little bit of a different story now. Oh, wait a second. So the person that dies in this tragic accident didn't die. As a matter of fact, from the 1989 version, that's the only person that actually lives. What happens with them now? You know, just these twists and turns that they did in this remake, I thought was badass. I thought it was badass. I really like this movie, and I definitely recommend Pet Cemetery, the 2019 version. I enjoyed it. I really did. Which takes us to Pet Sematary Bloodlines that came out earlier in 2023. Okay, so Bloodlines. This is actually a prequel. This movie takes place in 1969. And for a quick second there or two, it actually even takes you back even further to the year 1674. I'm not even really sure, somewhere in the 1600s. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you guys this. This movie sucks. This movie sucked, man. After watching the 2019 Pet Sematary, I was on a good high. And I was just like, hey, let's keep the party rolling, man. Let's go with Pet Sematary Bloodlines. And it was a dud. It was a complete dud. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the the whole thing of what the heck is the friend's name, Timmy or something. He comes back from Vietnam and they're changing everything up. It's like, oh, now when you bury the dead on that side, they come back and they start feasting on carcasses. Like, wait a second, when did that ever start? And then he's running on all fours, like on top of water, or he's like running really fast. Like, wait, hold on. When did this ever start happening? When did these fools start turning into, werewolves slash vampires or zombies or something? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, man, you got to, hit them in the eye. That's the only way to kill them. Like, what the heck are you talking about? When did this ever happen? In any of the other Pet Sematary movies? Now, maybe it did, and it went over my head. If it did, hey, dispensa. But I'm telling you guys this, man. This movie was a complete waste of time. When it was over, I was just like, good. I'm glad it's over. This movie sucked, and I thought it was going to be good. I really did, man. The three friends, or the three guys that used to be friends once upon a time, and they're not friends anymore. They all kind of took their own path or whatever. It wasn't working for me. The guy trying to leave the town of Ludlow. I mean, it's a prequel, and it's supposed to tell you about how this came to be. And honestly, look, maybe it went over my head because I was getting so damn bored and frustrated with the movie that I just didn't catch it. Even when it went back to the 1600s, it still didn't tell, at least to the best of my knowledge, still didn't say how that land became rotten soil like that, where when you bury somebody, they come back to life just evil. But look, man, this movie sucks. This movie was whack, homie. I did not like it. Do not waste your time watching this movie. Or if you want to watch it just because you're curious, go ahead. However, Pet Sematary 2019 version, I give it a thumbs up for dang sure. I really enjoyed it. I really did. Pet Sematary Bloodlines, son of a good bastard, dog. I mean, that's time I'll never get back, Holmes. Serio. That movie sucked, man. Cholo Trucker, M.A.S. Movies and Shows. I'll catch you guys on next one.